Today I want to talk to you about trees and how important they really are to us. We're going to start with a book that's called Our Tree Named Steve. This book was written by Alan Zweibel and it was illustrated by David Cameron. Dear kids, a long time ago when you were little, Mom and I took you to where we wanted to build a house for us to live. But in order to build there, men had to come and clear the land. I remember there was one tree, however, that the three of you couldn't stop staring at. Adam thought it was crying, Lindsay said it looked nervous, and Sari, who is only 2 years old, couldn't pronounce the word tree, and she called it Steve. I love you, Steve, she kept saying, and then Adam and Lindsay started saying it, and before too long, Mom and I got the hint and asked the builder to please save Steve. The day we moved in, Steve was there to greet us. He quickly worked his way into your lives as a swing holder, a target, third base, hiding place, a jump rope turner, and whenever our dryer broke, he held our underwear with pride. It's a good tree. Yes, right there in the center of our yard, this weird-looking tree grew to become the center of our outdoor life. Through all our barbecues, campouts, dance parties, or when Adam and Lindsay started getting crushes on the Simon kids next door, Steve adjusted to our every need. And it wasn't always easy. Standing tall through snowstorms in the winter, or when Uncle Chester napped in the hammock, could possibly have been fun. Not to mention the time that the sewer overflowed and Steve sucked up all the smelly water before it drowned Kirby. Then got so sick himself that the tree doctor had to give Steve a haircut that made him look like a big thumb. Poor Steve. Through the years, Mom and I have tried to show you, in a world filled with strangers, the peace that comes with having things you can count on and a safe place to return to after a hard day or a long trip. Which brings me to the point of this letter. Last week, a storm hit our area. And though we spared Steve's life a long time ago, this time we couldn't save him. Are we sad? Sure we are. But even in his final moments, when he could have fallen on our house, Sari's swings, Kirby's house, or Mom's garden, Steve performed his last trick and protected all of us to the very end. And friends like this are hard to find. So when you come home from Grandma's next week, Steve will not be able to greet you as he's done in the past. I'm sorry. But please know that Steve will always be with us in our hearts and in our thoughts. And in a different tree at the other end of the yard. See you next week. Love, Dad. Do you see where Steve is now? Steve was a tree in their yard, but now he's in another tree. So they took the wood from Steve and used it to make a tree house for the kids. So trees are very important to us. Steve was very important to this family. Think about your yard. Do you have a tree that's special to you? In my own yard, we have oak trees in our front yard, and my daughter loves to play in these trees. She has a swing hanging from a tree. She loves to climb up the trees and jump out and we'll catch her. She loves to have fun playing in the trees in the front yard. Trees are very important to us. They provide us with materials like wood to build tree houses and houses. They help us breathe. Trees are important for our environment. I'm going to show you some fun activities that you can do using trees in your own yard. And then we're going to read another book to learn a little bit more about all the important things that trees provide for us. Science gives us a way to better understand the world around us. Scientists do this through making observations and collecting data. We're going to talk about an activity that you can do at home where you can actually make some observations and collect some data on trees. This involves you going outside, grab a notebook, and look at the trees in your yard. How many different types of trees do you have in your yard? Sketch them. So on a sheet of paper, Sketch the outlines of the different trees in your yard. What types of trunks do they have? What types of branches do they have? Just sketch them out. Then you can actually record some data. So if you have just a blank sheet of paper, you can take it outside and you can actually press it up against the side of the tree. Get a crayon and you can rub the paper and it will make an imprint. It will show you a picture of what the bark of the tree looks like, and it's a way for you to record data about the tree. You can also do this with leaves, and it makes some really cool art. So I'm going to show you some leaves that I collected from my own yard. These leaves I know came from a crepe myrtle tree. I also have some leaves from my oak tree, which you just saw in my video. And then I have some leaves from a magnolia tree. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make a rubbing of these leaves. So you get a sheet of paper and you're going to take a leaf, put it underneath the paper, and then you're going to take a crayon and rub it over the top of the paper. And what this does is it creates a picture of the leaf, and it's a way for you to record what that leaf looks like. Take all your data, lay it out, grab mom or dad, talk to them about what types of trees you have in your yard, and see if they can help you identify the trees that you have based on the data you've collected. Now, I want to share with you another book. This book is called Be a Friend to Trees. This book was written by Patricia Lauber and was illustrated by Holly Keller. This is a book that's a nonfiction book that's going to give us more information about how helpful trees really are and how we can help the trees around us. Let's see how you can be a friend to trees. Trees are nice. They're nice to look at, nice to have around. Trees are also useful. Both people and animals need trees of all kinds, sizes, and shapes. Everything that is made of wood was once part of a tree. Look around you. How many wooden things do you see? Make a list. Don't forget to count your pencil and maybe your house. Paper also comes from trees. Wood is chopped into small pieces, mixed with chemicals, and heated. The wood softens and becomes pulp, which is used to make paper and cardboard, writing paper, books, newspapers, magazines, paper towels, cereal boxes, milk cartons, and many other things. Make another list of everything you see that is paper or cardboard, and don't forget the paper you're writing on. Some trees can be tapped for their sap. Sap from different trees is used to make maple syrup, chewing gum, soap, paint thinner, and rubber. Sugar maple trees give us sap for syrup. White pine trees give us gum for turpentine, and rubber trees give us latex for rubber. Trees are green plants, and so they make their own food. Green plants are the only living things that can do this. Other living things depend on green plants for food. Some eat parts of plants, some eat the plant eaters, some eat both. You eat the parts of trees known as fruits and nuts. Apples, oranges, pears, cherries, peaches, walnuts, almonds, pecans, hazelnuts, and lots of others. Chocolate also comes from a tree. It is made from the seeds of a cocoa tree. Many animals eat parts of trees. Caterpillars eat leaves, so do deer, so do koalas, and so do giraffes and elephants. Porcupines eat the inner bark of trees as well as buds and twigs. Squirrels and chipmunks gather nuts to eat. Bees find food in the flowers of trees. They collect pollen and the sugary liquid called nectar. Birds eat seeds and fruits from trees, and those are only a few of the animals that find their food in trees. Many animals make their homes in trees. Birds roost in trees. They build nests and raise their young in trees. Squirrels nest in trees. Monkeys live in trees. Some frogs spend their whole lives in trees without ever coming down. Honeybees make hives in hollow trees. Many other insects also live in trees. So do small creatures such as spiders. Deer find shelter beneath the trees of forests and woodlands. They find safe places to hide their young. The roots of trees hold soil in place. They keep it from washing away in heavy rains or floods of waters from melting snow. When soil is held in place, water sinks into it and is stored in the ground. Many people depend on water that is stored underground. They draw it to the surface through wells. Trees do something else that is very important. It has to do with the air we breathe. Air is made of gases. One of them is oxygen. It is the gas that our bodies need. It is the gas that all animals need. Each time we breathe, we take oxygen out of the air, but the supply is never used up. The reason is that trees and other green plants keep putting oxygen into the air. They give off oxygen as they make their food. Trees make food in their leaves. The leaves can be broad, like the ones you see on a maple tree. They can be narrow and pointed, like the needle-shaped leaves you see on a fir or a pine tree. All these green leaves do the same work. They make food for the trees. To make food, leaves use water, which they take from the ground. They use a gas called carbon dioxide, which they take from the air. They use sunlight as energy. With energy from the sun, green leaves put the water and carbon dioxide together. They make a kind of sugar. The making of food by plants is called photosynthesis, a word that means putting together with light. So you can see in this picture, this represents photosynthesis. Leaves use sunlight for energy. Carbon dioxide comes from the air, and leaves get water from the soil. These are all the things they need for photosynthesis. Trees need food to stay alive. They also need food for growth, to make new wood, leaves, twigs, fruits, and nuts. Some of a tree's food is used right away. Some is stored for future use. While making food, leaves also make oxygen that they don't need. They get rid of it by putting it into the air. So the trees take in the carbon dioxide and they give off oxygen. Much of the oxygen that people and animals need comes from trees. Without them, we might not be here at all. So trees are more than nice. They're something we can't live without, and that's why everyone should be a friend to trees. So how can you be a friend to trees? There are lots of things you can do to be a friend to trees. Here are a few. See how many more you can think of. Try using less paper. It's a great way to save trees. If you can, use a rag, a sponge, or a dish towel instead of using a paper towel. Take along a paper bag when you go to the market. Most bags can be used over again. No one needs a new bag every time. Better yet, take your own net or canvas bag to the market. Then you won't need the store's bags at all. If you buy something small and don't need a bag, say no thanks. Do you usually write only on one side of a piece of paper? Don't throw it out. Use the other side for some scrap paper. Recycling is another way to be a friend. When paper is recycled, it is shredded, mashed, washed, and made into paper again. Then we need less new paper, and that means fewer trees must be cut. Suppose all the people in the United States recycled their Sunday newspapers. That would save 500,000 trees a week. Does your family recycle? Do you help? And then there's something else you can do. If you have a chance, help plant a tree. This is a great way to be a friend to trees.
Gigi, there you are. I finally found you. What are you reading? Are you reading Dr. Seuss's sleep book? I don't know. It kind of looks like you're doing more sleeping than you are reading. Come on, Gigi, we gotta go. Yes, Gigi, now, come on.